Would you guys like to play a game?
Oh, I wouldn't mind, I wouldn't mind.
Well, the debating game.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
No, what?
Debate of the week.
All right. What do we think, lads? Who wants to go first for our new segment? Debate to Tronorama.
I reckon you grab a couple of the bad boys out of there, and we'll see which one we like.
All right.
Shall we?
Part one. Oh, that doesn't look good. Why has it been ripped out? Oh, okay. Oh, gosh. Some of these are ripped in half. So here we go. Number one. Oh, gosh. So the first one is Marvel movies are actually far-right propaganda.
Oh goodness me!
Oh, number two. So let's have three options. Secularization is a good thing for society. That is tough. That is a tough one.
Oh man!
And the third one. Oh gosh, the last one is Hitler's mustache was a good thing for society.
I'm going to go with that one personally.
Okay.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we've got to do that one.
Okay, so you and Ollie, Jake and Ollie should go first, I think. And I will flip the coinage. Ollie, what would you like to be on the side of?
Heads.
Okay. If it is heads, Ollie is arguing in favour that Hitler's mustache was a good thing for society.
Well,
So we have a heads.
all right.
So I now have to argue that Hitler's mustache was good for society.
Yes.
That's
Okay.
correct, sir. Good luck with that one.
I shall set the timer. You have your 2-minute opening statement. Okay, for those who first time listening or whatever, this basically is a game we play where basically we have to argue totally random positions and points of view. Everybody gets 2 minutes opening statement and then a 2-minute rebuttal period followed by a 4-minute opening question and then a 20-second closing statement. Okay, Ollie, are you ready, do you think?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, your 2 minutes starts now.
Okay, so the first thing that I want to point out is that there needs to be a distinction made here. This isn't about was Hitler good for society. This is about was his mustache good for society. Okay. And I think, personally, if evil exists in the world, which it does, I want to be able to identify that evil as easily as possible. There needs to be some sort of defining visual characteristic that makes it easy to spot.
Hey, wake up.
Hitler's mustache was good for society on this basis, and this basis alone, as far as I can think of at the moment. So, no one in Germany ever mistook Hitler for just some random passerby. Everyone knew what Hitler looked like. All right, they knew that when they were walking past Hitler, that was Hitler. That was old Adolf going on his morning jog.
Mm-hmm.
You're never gonna get caught out by Adolf, not with that mustache. Okay, that's my first point. Not sure how much time I got left.
You've got about 40 seconds.
Okay. Also, it lightens the mood because Charlie Chaplin had that mustache, and he was a funny guy.
Wow.
When people see that mustache, they not only think of Hitler and the evil stuff that Hitler did, but they think of The Great Dictator, the film that Charlie Chaplin was in, who also had the mustache, that was also about a dictator. Both defining features of each of them. And then Charlie Chaplin makes a speech at the end that is his first speech on television, his first talking role on television, and is one of the best counters to Nazi ideology that has been broadcast on television.
It's true. It's a good speech.
Time is up. Okie dokie. Jake, are you ready for your opening statement?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, let's go now.
All right. So, I noticed that you try to kind of disassociate Hitler from his mustache.
Make sure you're not making a rebuttal. This is your opening
No, yeah,
statement.
I'm taking up my time with your voice, all right? My point is that these two things are intrinsically linked. I mean, they're physically linked by the hair follicles on his upper lip. But the purpose of Hitler's moustache absolutely led to the state of Germany. I mean, you cannot separate the moustache from the man. By all means, you can attribute it to Charlie Chaplin as well, right?
Don't judge a man by his merits, judge him by his mustache.
Yes.
Agreed.
But as in terms of the way that it affected society, the charisma that was added onto Hitler because of his stash, simply it's added to his popularity. That little bit of unique facial hair on his face led to charisma and led to him in the position that he got to. And at this point, you've basically got to defend Nazism and show how Nazism was good for society, because Hitler's moustache equals Nazism. That's it. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. You had 30 seconds left. Ollie, how can you argue with some of that logic? Let's find out. Your 2 minutes begins now.
Someone being easy to distinguish doesn't further whatever cause they have. It just makes people identify them easily. You have it depends what people's presupposition is as to whether or not they like that person already. So people hate Donald Trump when they make fun of the way he looks, and he's quite an easy to distinguish guy. That doesn't make them like him again. It all relies on people's biases to begin with. So my point is that you've got Hitler, and then the same mustache is used by someone that counters him. They're so interrelated visually. So you've got a stark opposition right at the sort of visual forefront. And so that mustache is actually something that has not only been used to counter fascism, but has actually been used for people to identify this evil guy that may or may not have jogged past them on his morning run at some point, and they would never have known.
That all we got?
I don't know, I'm done with that.
Hey, you have 30 seconds left. Jake, your rebuttal period begins now.
Look, you can focus on the mustache as simply an identification feature, but what I'm talking about is the addition to the charisma that he puts across, and the addition to the charisma that he gets when he sees himself in the mirror. Let's not beat around the bush here. That stash is absolutely impeccable, right? The grooming required on that speaks of a man of
Who had 4 minutes? No, who had 20 seconds? Oh, sorry, I'm interrupted. Carry on.
What?
I completely just lost my train of thought there, trying to understand what Adam was talking about.
Sorry. I'll give you an extra 20 seconds for that. Sorry.
Unfair.
So, yeah. It speaks of a man who cares about the way he looks, and a person who cares about the way he looks is a charismatic individual. And people perceive the charisma through that stash. That stash, I propose, was definitely an instrumental device in achieving the popularity that he achieved, and thus running the German society completely into the ground. Hitler's stash was terrible for society. That's me out.
Okie dokie. So, Jake, you had 40 minutes left. Are you guys ready to start your rebuttal period of your opening question period of 4 minutes?
Yeah, sure.
Excellente. We shall begin. I actually have a question. We'll start with you, Jake. I recently watched Shrek, right?
Yes.
And the main message of that film is that we are not the sum of our appearance. Why would Hitler be any different?
I don't purport that Hitler was the sum of merely his appearance. My whole point is that his appearance, including the stash, almost, I would say, first and foremost, the stash, led to the popularity that he gained, and thus the effect he had on society.
Okay. Ollie, I've got a question for you.
Hmm.
You stated that Hitler's mustache lightens the mood. Would you say that was true of Hitler, that he has any element of him lightens the mood in any conversation ever?
Hitler's mustache does not lighten the mood. Charlie Chaplin's mustache lightens the mood.
Same mustache.
It is the same mustache.
No, it's not. No, it is not. There is a big difference. One of them is connected to Hitler, and one of them is connected to Charlie Chaplin, my friend.
But Charlie Chaplin styled his mustache on Hitler's.
This fundamentally backs up what I'm saying, that the mustache and the person wearing the mustache are intrinsically linked, and you cannot separate the man from the stash. He's proven my point.
Does that mean that Charlie Chaplin and Hitler are intrinsically linked, even though they?
No, that's exactly
clearly...
what I'm saying. I'm saying they are not. They are linked to their stashes and not necessarily to each other.
But they have the same stash,
Yes.
so they're intrinsically linked.
No.
If I'm intrinsically linked to Christianity, and you're intrinsically linked to Christianity, does that not intrinsically link us in some way?
No. It means that we're both linked to the same thing.
Which links us?
Carriage A is not connected to carriage C, but carriage A and C are both connected to carriage B.
What?
Two things can be connected to the same object without them being connected to each other.
Oh, I see what you're saying. But they're on the same train, nonetheless.
Okay.
But Jake,
Right.
I've got a question for you. You said it would take a lot of time to groom yourself for Hitler Tash, right? I've got to disagree with that statement.
No.
I actually think it's got to be the easiest mustache to groom in the history of humanity. I genuinely think he made it by mistake while shaving and must have been like, well, it's something.
Well, look here, Adam. Judging by the state of your facial hair, I wouldn't say that you know very much about grooming at all. All right?
Well then.
Ad hominems popping out, guys.
Yeah. Look, I mean, I don't think it's massively. I don't think my argument hinges on how long it takes to style a Hitler stash. So I'll just concede that one. I think. Matthew's just walked past.
The whole
Chris in
argument.
hole. No, I'm not going to concede the argument. I'll concede that perhaps the Hitler stash is not the most intricate of facial hair you could possibly have to style.
You're wrong.
All right.
You know, I think you are wrong, Jake. Does anybody have any other questions before? Because we have 20 seconds left.
Nah, I'm done. Like.
I'm done.
All right, closing statements. Ollie, you're arguing for, so you have the first 20 seconds. Time starts now.
So Jake seemed to loosely talk about how the mustache gained popularity for Hitler. I want to see some sort of tangible historical evidence for such a thing. I don't think that's recorded anywhere that people loved Hitler purely for his mustache.
Time's up. Jake, you ready for your 20 seconds?
Yeah, sure. Go.
Time starts now.
Well, since Ollie decided to use his closing statement as an extra argument, I will also provide an argument. If you take a look at the memes of Donald Trump, there's some historical evidence that the physical appearance of someone can massively boost his popularity. There you go. BAM!
Okay.
No.
Time is up. Hey, time is up.
That's it, mate.
Oh man, me and you are gonna tussle.
I never heard that word before, tussle. Well, I'll tell you what.
How do you know what it means then?
Purely, right? I'm gonna give this one to Ollie purely for the attack on my facial hair and no reason whatsoever about anything else.
I made a mistake. I'll take it back.
Being cheeky. I'm just being cheeky. Okie dokie. Right. Jake, I would like a debate with you, if that's okay, because I've not actually debated you yet.
I'm sure. Didn't you?
No, I've debated Ollie.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Pretty sure I have. Anyway, Ollie, have I ever debated Jake?
No, I don't think so. I think I debated
Yeah.
Jake, and then I debated Adam, and then
That was it. We only did 2 last week.
yeah, something
Yeah.
like that.
So
All right. Well, here I've pulled 3 out. Okay. Here are our options. The first one I pulled out was that. So you'd be arguing in favor of we are all just pawns in Ollie's game. Is the first one. The second one is the Queen should do a violent takeover of the UK. And the third one is instead of everybody laughing, one person should just say the word humorous, and then everybody else in the group should say agreed.
Say that again.
Instead of everybody laughing, one person should say the word humorous, and everybody else should say the word agreed.
I love that.
That's weird.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine like a comedy festival, like with no laughter at all? Comics would just be absolutely ruined by that.
So what do you want to see? Ollie, you're the moderator. What do you want to see? A debate
Read it
about?
again.
So, number 1, we are all just pawns in Ollie's game that he's playing. Number 2, the Queen should do a violent takeover of the UK. Number 3, instead of everybody laughing, one person should say the word humorous and the others should say the word agreed.
The megalomaniac in me wants to hear about how you're all pawns in my game.
I don't mind. I'll do. I mean, the first one and the
I don't
third
mind.
one, it's between for me. I'm not sure I want to actually. I'm worried about having to fight for Liz.
All right,
Taking the
I'll
streets on a
happily do
horse.
I'll happily do the first one. I'll happily argue in favor of the first one. I mean, like in the coin flip. I mean, so if somebody wants to flip a coin, if they have one, and then heads, I'll argue in favor.
I don't have a coin.
I've got
one.
Not Matthew. Ollie.
I'm just gonna decide what side of this label is heads, and then throw it.
Right. Okay.
Right, this side is heads. So okay, it's heads.
Oh, so that's me arguing that we are all pawns in Ollie's game.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Oh, crumbs.
I've got.
Does
the
somebody
easier
wanna-
job, I think.
Oh, dang it.
Just please don't have one of your points be, look at this guy, he's too stupid to do something
I
like
was
that.
just thinking that like there is 0 chance that Ollie is intellectually strong enough to do something like that.
Okay, I'm ready. Somebody wants to time me.
I haven't got a timer. Can you do a timer, Ollie?
Let me have a look. A timer.
Is that confirmation that you have a timer?
Porn. Right. How do I use this?
You hit go. And it starts counting.
This is so weird. Yeah, I've got it to work. I've got it to work, people.
Oh God.
All right. Let's do it. Right. 3,
Okey-dokey.
2, 1, go.
So, I think that when I say we all, I want to frame that argument. I do mean everybody in the universe. No, I don't. I mean specifically us lot. Okay, we all us lot. Okay, and here's why we're all pawns in Ollie's game. So the first question would be, think about it, Jake. How do we all know each other? Okay, there is one uniting factor here. Okay, and it's definitely through Ollie. The next point I want to make is that I don't know if you remember, Jake. Me and you were at a wedding last week, and I can't remember if you remembered why we were there. Oh, that's right. It was because of Ollie. Another thing, we were both just happened to be in Peterborough at the same time last week and a month earlier, and there must have been one reason for that, Ollie. And when you start to unravel this tapestry, it becomes clear to anybody that Ollie has been playing us as pawns in this sick game for a long time. One way you could do this by analyzing the goal, right? So you need to analyze what is Ollie's goal and is he closer to achieving the goal? Okay, and if he is, then that proves that we are pawns in his game. Now, here's the one thing. If Ollie's goal was to marry Simone, okay, then you must admit that we have been active pawns in that game, aiding and abetting him, even going as far as to so unwittingly helping him during the wedding service, okay? This must be a piece of evidence that we are in some way involved in Ollie's game. Another point would be, think about the reason why you do anything, in fact. Why do you wake up in the morning and then you remembered, well, it's to please Ollie in some way.
Right.
And then you've got to think, why did we do this podcast today? Who is leading this podcast? Ollie. Again, the same thing over and over and over again. And it's clear, I think, anyway, that when you analyze your own life, you'll see all in the same way that all the roads lead to Rome, all the roads will lead to Ollie in your own life, in your own existence. How do you know Richard, for example, is through Ollie? How do you know what the inside of Ollie's house looks like? Again, it's through Ollie. How do you know Simone? Again, through Ollie. All these things, it gets to a point where it's not just a coincidence, Jake. There must be something, some power, and I think it's more logical to reason that it is a plan of Ollie's than anything else. Specifically, if Ollie had a goal and he achieved that goal, there must be in some way some overarching theme or plan.
Just a sec. Was it 2 minutes for the opening statements?
Yeah.
All right. You now get that. That's your opening statement done, I'm afraid. And Jake,
Jake.
because of
Good.
fairness,
So I get to go again.
No,
okay.
no, that's yours done. And because of fairness, Jake, you will have 2 minutes, 37 seconds, and 44 milliseconds.
Right.
Okay.
2.5 minutes.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Before
I
we
totally forgot.
Before we start the timer, can I just say that was actually a really convincing, circumstantial case. You got me worried about Ollie now.
They're on to me.
Yeah. All right.
Right, 3, 2, 1, go.
I think the first thing I'm gonna have to bring up in defense of, Ollie's character, it will be his character itself. I think the type of manipulation that you're describing just isn't befitting a Christian, or of Ollie himself. I mean, look at the guy. He could never pull off something like. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I think you've got to kind of imagine whether this type of thing is actually going to be a viable explanation for these events. I understand that you're trying to kind of invoke. What is it? Invoke? Yeah, invoke Occam's razor to try and kind of shoehorn in the explanation that Oliver's completely in control. But I don't think he has the character for it. I really think that he's a more like. I'm having a really hard time actually describing why it is that you're not this person, Ollie. I think I have to concede. Truly, I've got no idea how to argue against this. I've been thwarted. This is an official concession. I literally cannot do this. There's nothing coming to my mind. I don't know how to argue against it, Ollie. I cannot be friends with you anymore, bro.
We've revealed the plan.
Yeah. I'm sorry, guys.
The only reason you say that is because I no longer want to be friends with you, Paul.
Can I have a rebuttal period?
Mate, what is there to rebut? I've
said
just
one thing.
conceded. Oh, okay.
Thank you.
You can rebut it if you like. You've got as much
Yeah.
time as you like.
I mean, it's starting to look, Ollie, very much like like we are pawns in your game.
Yeah.
My only rebuttal would be: you said, "Is Ollie's character compatible with this sort of plan?" Right?
Mm.
I would argue, absolutely, this sort of character. This is a guy who recommended. Okay, recommended. What's the name of that dessert shop, Ollie? Casper's. My gosh, that place was bad, and he did that knowingly. This is somebody
didn't
with
enjoy it?
No, this guy
Why?
has devious intention. Okay, no, I'm kidding. But one thing I would say is that Ollie is a fallen being. Okay,
Right.
he's not going to have perfect intentions all the time. And secondly, you're assuming that he's controlling us for an insidious purpose. What if his purpose, the reason why he's doing it, was for the greater good? Then it would be befitting of his character. If he had a good character. See what I'm getting at?
Yeah.
See what I'm throwing down?
I would rebut, but I've already conceded. I don't think it's fair. You win that one, like.
Ollie, we're all just pawns in your game.
That's alright, I know. I know.
So now in true mastermind fashion, do you want to do the outro for this episode, like?
Do you know what I thought was really funny, right?
Go on.
Was that when Jake was sort of like, you were gonna say, well, Ollie's not intelligent enough to do that, but like didn't say it because it might be insulting. As though I'm gonna be insulted because someone said I'm not intelligent enough to actually control other people's lives without them knowing it.
Right, yeah.
No, I'm not. I'm not, and I have no issue with admitting that.
Don't be insulted, mate, but you do not have an IQ of 190.
Yeah, don't be insulted, but you are not a living genius.